Nobody dislikes a found family story. If you do, why are you here? You shouldn't be here. You should be on the other side of YouTube. You're not going to find what you want here if you do not like a found family story. It's Tuesday, it's tea time, and today we're talking about storytelling. Specifically, we're going to talk about some tools that you can use in your storytelling. This is going to be a general primer. This is going to give you some terms that you can look up for further reading if you would like. Story only happens because of tension. There must be tension and then there must be release. If the tension builds up and it's never released, it's not going to be a good story. If there is no tension and everyone is just happy all the time, it's a great escape, but it's not a good story. In order for there to be a story, you want there to be people who are at odds with each other. Even if it's one person who is at odds with different parts of themselves. I'm not going to say that no one ever sticks to like a light, happy slice of life, happy-go-lucky, happy all the time plot, because there are people that do that. But the things that connect with people are because there is tension, because there is struggle. There are tools that we used in English class to critically read and find out, is this a man versus man story? Is this man versus environment? You can look through all of those themes. You can pick one of those that you want to apply from the top-down isometric view of your story building. You're allowed to do that. You can decide whether you want to do a 3-act structure, a 5-act structure, a 7-act structure. I know that a lot of people who run campaigns don't really start with structuring and making outlines of the acts of their story. They just will prepare a chunk of it, and then as the players go through, they will prepare another chunk of it, and then, as you get lower on the stack of things that you have prepared, your DM will go and see okay, where can we go from here? Some DMs will have the big bad picked out from the very beginning. Some won't. And that's okay. Either way, it doesn't really matter. What really matters is the journey of the characters that you're following. Here is the secret sauce for making a good story. You get all your characters together, and every single one of them has something that they believe in that is not true. Okay? It's they're not worth love, or everyone's going to betray them, or the city watch serves the people. Whatever it is that they believe that is wrong, they have to come up against that misbelief, right? The character has to hit up against their reality being broken, right? The thing that they believe being not true. And they can run from it. If they believe that they are not worthy of love, they are going to run from the relationship, from the people who care. They're going to try and keep their innermost self secret and locked away so that they don't have tender moments where they connect with other individuals, but it's going to happen anyway, right? They're going to get a glimpse of a different reality. They're going to see that, oh, this person who I've been traveling with actually cares about me, not about what I can do for them, but about me. I don't know how I feel about that. And you have that journey. And each of these characters that you're bringing together should have that. You should be able to hit on everybody's misbelief, everybody's personal struggle throughout the course of the campaign, no matter how long it is. If you want to focus on one character per chapter or arc or whatever you're doing, great. Make sure that you devote a chapter or an arc to everybody's character. Sit down with your players, or if you're a player, sit down with your DM and be like, this is the story I want to tell. I want to tell the story of somebody who feels abandoned and then finds their found family. That's found family is a huge one. We all love a found family, right? Nobody dislikes a found family story. If you do, why are you here? You shouldn't be here. You should be on the other side of YouTube. You're not going to find what you want here if you do not like a found family story. The kernel idea of what your character's arc, what your character's story, what your character's growth is going to be about, you should be able to say it in one sentence. It does not have to be a huge novella of backstory, of motivation. Just one sentence. I'm not worthy. I'm not a hero. I cannot do good things. I am doomed by the station of my birth to never do great things. And then your motivation will naturally like germinate from that. Your character's motivation. If they're a tiefling who's from a place where tieflings are looked down upon because of their demonic features, you know, they're going to believe that they're not worthy of love. They're going to believe that they're inherently evil. And maybe they strive to do good despite that. But somewhere deep inside, they know that they're compensating. They know that they're trying to prove themselves. And so the misbelief is, I need to prove that I'm good. Because you don't really need to prove that you're good. If you were born with horns and sharp teeth, people might think that you're bad. But this is not true. The things that people think, not necessarily true, just as in real life. You know, that's why those things are powerful to us, because they reflect things that happen in real life. They reflect the situations that we as real people go through. We identify with that. That's what makes a good story, is to have that core kernel of story be something that people can understand. They can understand it because they feel it. They know it. They've been there. And that can be too heavy for some people to put into a game. I understand that. You don't have to go super heavy and go into like the deep dark holes of your soul and find the thing that most heavily weighs on your self-esteem and put that into your character. You don't have to do that. But you should be doing something. You should be picking some misbelief, some backstory for your character that your DM can sink their little teeth into and craft a story for you around. If you are unaffected by anything, you're never going to have a story. If all you do is triumph all the time, you're never going to have a story. Speaking of triumphing all the time and not triumphing all the time, try-fail cycle. Try-fail cycle is a very common literary motif. Usually happens in threes. 2 failures and then a win. It's not usually so easy as, ooh, I tried, I failed, ooh, I tried, I failed, ooh, I tried, yay, I got it. You'll try something, fail at it, and iterate, right? If you need to get into the castle to beat the big bad guy and you can't go through the front door, like if you even just hear that they're doubling up the guards on the front door, that's a failure, right? You know that idea isn't going to work. You can chalk that up as a failure. You come up with another idea. Is that a good idea? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe that's another fail in the try-fail cycle. It doesn't have to be an active tried to do this and failed. It can be a plan that falls through. That also works for the try-fail cycle. Hero's journey is another thing for you to look up. Like, what is your personal hero's journey for your character? DMs, what is the hero's journey that you're putting your people through? Like, how does this story that you're telling change them? I, as a DM, am very fond of the tromp through morality and exploring what morality is, good and evil, and all of the different shades of gray in between. I'm currently telling one of the stories from Candlekeep Mysteries. Is the level 17 mission that has to do with the spore plague. And I was pleasantly delighted to find that the gray morality is built in that story. And the players have to make a critical decision at the end of the adventure. This druid went crazy and decided that she wanted to cheat death, right? She started researching how to make a living creature into a phylactery, like, you know, like a lich puts their soul into a phylactery and then they can't be killed unless the phylactery is destroyed. Well, this druid found a way to turn a sprite into a living phylactery, and the sprite is a NPC that the characters meet at the very beginning of the adventure, and she is cute and bubbly and troubled because she doesn't know what happened and she has no concept of direction or time. And my characters are so sweet and so good, and they latched on to her immediately. Good, protective D&D characters. So when these characters come to the end and they meet this druid who has created this spore plague through the whole, weird anti-death magic shenanigans, they can kill her, but if they don't destroy her phylactery, she's going to come back. I'm really looking forward to my players watching their characters deal with the morality of this choice of having to kill this sprite who they have spent all of this time protecting. Because if they do not remove her, if they do not destroy the phylactery, the druid is just going to come back. That's some heavy stuff, but I did warn my players that it was going to be heavy. Those are the kind of stories that will change a character, and they may even change a player. And that's what this whole thing is about. Story is about changing. It is about taking a belief that is incorrect and changing it. And how does that affect the character? We follow stories because we like the characters. We do not stick around if we don't like the characters. If the vehicle for the story is not a ride that is comfortable for our hearts, we're going to take a different train. It's how we work as human beings. So the most effective stories that you can tell all revolve around the issues that people in real life struggle with. That's going to be your most profound story that is going to connect with the most people. Sure, you can make a himbo paladin who can do no wrong, who is upstanding, who always does what he thinks is right, and never ever does anything wrong. He is going to be boring. Now, if you make him a true himbo, and he's upstanding, but he's not very bright, and he's easily manipulated, and he can be manipulated to do bad things for what he thinks are good reasons, that's where you get the depth. When you have this character realize that, oh no, he's done something bad because he got tricked. Oh, the betrayal. Maybe it's crazy to think that sitting down and telling a silly little story with your friends can help you grow as a person, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's not that crazy at all. Go look up the hero's journey. Look into the 3-act structure, right? 5-act structure if you want a longer story. But it doesn't matter which structure you use for the story. What really, really matters is that tension, that misbelief, the growth that the character gets to go through from having their personal challenges given to them. That's where your story is going to come in. So if you're a DM, what you need to do is you need to sit down with every single one of your players separately and say, what is it that your character, what are their motivations? Tell me about their past. What do they believe to be true that isn't? If you are a player, I highly suggest that you talk to your DM and you be like, my character thinks that they are not worthy of love, and I would like to explore that through the story. And talk about what elements you want to challenge that belief, or whatever belief that it is. A little bit of planning is like the mise en place for your story. Get all of your veggies and stuff chopped and all of your seasonings measured out before you start cooking. It's the secret of success. And that is about all I have to say about that. I guess if you want to hear more in depth about hero's journey or 3-act structure or trifill cycle or whatever, let me know. If you have a character that you have already built a misbelief into, tell me about it. I want to hear. If this is new and you're gonna start, tell me about it. I want to hear. Tell me your story. Get in the comments and tell me your story. Are they over here now? Are they here? Get in the comments wherever they are, since YouTube is changing things, and tell me your story. This is not a D&D channel. I'm talking about D&D right now, but the whole channel's not about D&D. So if you want to subscribe, please check out some of my other stuff. Maybe, you know, see if this is the place for you. If you like my vibe and you're like into watching me sew stuff and craft stuff and talk about the things that I am enjoying doing, seeing, watching, reading, welcome aboard. If not, thank you for your watch time. Please don't subscribe. I bid you well. I bid you good journeys on the tube of yous, and I hope that you find the content that sets your soul alight. If you are still here, thank you so much. I have no words for how much I appreciate you, and I would really like for you to do me a favor. Make sure that you are hydrated, eat something, go on a little walk, and do something just for you, even if you like have to carve 15 minutes out of the day in order to do it. You're worth it. Thank you. Take care of my friend, and I promise that I will do my very level best to take care of yours. I'll see you next week. You know, we all have these moments of growing up that have scarred us forever, like watching Neverending Story. You know what I'm talking about? It's still too soon.